Hello, I'm David. How are you? Today is May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Hola, me llamo David. Estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú? So it's probably been a couple of months now, I guess, since I've made a video. Not because anything grandiose has happened. I've just been otherwise preoccupied with the various trivialities or foibles of life, let's say. So, what shall we talk about on this Cinco de Mayo? What I've been thinking about a lot over the past couple of months is systems. Systems and how they work, and what am I doing here? Why am I here? What's the point? How did I get here? What am I doing? And to some degree, I did get here intentionally. I left California in my 20s, hoping to get away from a higher cost of living and find some more economic opportunity, in a sense of reducing costs and being able to purchase things outright, own them, and not be in debt forever or for any significant lengths of time. And in some way, find a way to buy back my time and have more free time. And some years have gone better than others, but I would like to talk a little bit about the system in which I've set up and tried to maintain over the years. Initially, I looked at, my monthly spend and finances and tried to identify what am I spending the most money on. And I think for most people, it's usually housing costs and cars, transportation. So I tried to eliminate those two things as quickly as possible. I wanted to own a home outright, own a car outright, and not be stuck in mortgages or loans, paying interest rates on a depreciating vehicle and paying a 30-year mortgage on a home. So, initially in the onset of my 20s, I focused on living sort of a minimalistic, I guess is sort of the buzzword these days, or like a Spartan-like existence in the short term, temporarily, and get finances and spending under control. So I focused on eliminating large cost of housing and car payments. I bought cars I could own outright, cars which common models, lots of the model available, easy to work on, easy to do maintenance, affordable stuff I can do myself in terms of maintenance. Then I purchased a foreclosed home and renovated it and flipped it. You do that a couple of times and take the money and buy a house outright for cash that I actually wanted to live in and maintain and have long term. So, knocking out those two things, housing costs and cars, that dropped my monthly expenses pretty significantly. I don't have to worry about mortgage, paying P&I and insurance and property tax. I just cut it down to property tax. And I don't have to pay interest on a car loan on a depreciating vehicle asset. So that's kind of step one, cut costs as close to the bone and bare essentials as possible. Not forever, but long enough to be able to build sort of a solid financial foundation. And then once those big costs and expenses are gone, I'm able to save a large amount of monthly income, over 50%, 70, 80 plus percent of income goes to savings every month. And I could narrow it down further if I really just wanted to eat rice and beans and not do anything ever. but try to find a comfortable medium where I'm not driving myself crazy, but saving a large amount of monthly income. So then once you have that income coming in, throw it in to some kind of savings, not just a standard savings account, but high yield saving or purchasing stocks, bonds, CDs, crypto, some sort of reinvestment into something. So your money that you're saving is now making money. And that reinvestment of your capital is where sort of the momentum starts, or you sort of ignite the financial engine of making your own money make money. And every dollar saved becomes kind of fuel for the next phase of personal monetary growth. And then on top of that, I've tried to use credit and credit cards as strategically as possible. Not just credit cards to buy things I want frivolously or impulsively, but take every spend I have and filter it through a credit card where appropriate in a category, if possible, for maximum returns and rewards. And then additionally, go through and churn credit cards and bank accounts at least a few times a year to get bonus reward welcome points for credit cards, to be able to use that money to offset costs of utilities or food, and then churn bank accounts to be able to get the rewards and then reinvest that money into stocks or crypto or whatever, or offset costs of monthly expenses like utilities or food, whatever recurring costs I can push down. And then having credit cards with higher credit limits create sort of a nice shield or financial buffer or a time cushion, if you will. So if you have any kind of emergencies or larger spends that pop up, you at least have that float period in the credit cards of 28 to 56 days to be able to absorb temporarily financial hits and not dip into your liquid capital and have to spend it immediately. So your liquid capital can keep making money in a high yield savings account or being reinvested into something else. So kind of a focus on trying to use credit intentionally and strategically, so it's more of a tool and not a financial trap where you're living off credit and living month to month or paycheck to paycheck trying to pay interest to creditors. So setting up those things kind of creates a self-sustaining, low expenses, high savings, strategic reinvestment, and more thoughtful, intelligent use of credit. And over time, that system helps to build momentum by having a high savings rate that you can reinvest into the market somewhere. You could look at arbitrage opportunities to buy and flip stuff in 28 to 56 day float periods of credit cards, or if you're in a welcome period with 0 APR interest credit card welcome bonus where you've got like 6, 12, 18, 24 months where you can make larger purchases and try and do an arbitrage flip on something you've been paying attention on in the market. For example, I'm in tech, so if I ever notice a sale on technology, I can bulk buy stuff, wait for the sale to end, hold it for a longer period of time, and flip it. If I can eyeball opportunities and look at them and kind of time the market right, that's one thing you could do. But overall, I think kind of the key point in this personal strategy, if you even want to call it that, is the kind of mindset of a Spartan minimalist kind of lifestyle early on the onset, and focus on lowering your costs so you can free up yourself and your time later on in life. You sort of live in an initial state of delayed gratification and try and get a mastery of the at least fundamental financial tools available in the market so you can set yourself up to save in the present and invest and reinvest those differences into the future until your system kind of runs itself and is generating some kind of dividends monthly, quarterly, yearly, and returning that profit to you, which I think is at least a good idea because we live in a fiat system. And if you just save money, if you take out cash and put under your mattress or just put in a normal savings account, you're really losing money through, CPI and inflation year over year. So you have to do something with your money to be able to grow it over time. Otherwise, you're just losing money through inflation. The dollar gets devalued year over year. So it's not a particularly flashy get-rich-quick scheme or anything. You just save money, reinvest money, and compound interest over time. Really, the magic ingredient is time. And compound interest over time with a high savings rate and some strategic reinvestments and the use of flipping and churning credit cards and bank accounts for rewards money, focusing on arbitrage opportunities. And then combine all that with compound interest over time. We're talking 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years. You start to get to the point where you can have a few $100 extra coming in every month from interest in investments, $1,000+ and then you keep just reinvesting all of this into the future, and slowly but surely over time, you're making more money, but it's a very slow incremental process over time. So anyway, that's it. Disappeared for a couple of months. Didn't have much to say or do. Been busy. And welcome to Cinco de Mayo.